Hello again, my name is Simon Johnston. I'm the CEO of Icon Relocation and welcome to our ongoing series of videos looking at the housing stock levels in and around London. Now, for those who haven't seen these videos before, just a quick guide. This data is collated from a range of online sources across England currently. It's important to say that this only is showing what is new to the market, therefore it is not showing what is available to rent today. This is for guide purposes only, albeit we believe fairly accurate, and please note that all the data shown is always in proportion to each other. Now on the left we have the legend. The higher the tower shows the higher the stock, and the red of the colour shows the higher in price it is. And over to the right we actually have the ability to filter by dates. We can actually look at price ranges between minimum and maximum and bedroom types. And what you also see floating around the bottom of the screen here, which I hope is not too irritating, is we can actually look at what the average is for each of those locations, so what the average price is and how many properties makes up that category. Right, well, that said, today is the 9th of December, and what we're going to do is going to go back to last Saturday and have a look at about a 5-day period and see what's going on in December. Now, first of all, we have to say this is December, so we're not expecting to see particularly high levels of activity. In a normal year, you wouldn't see that much. Sadly, this is not a normal year, so we're seeing much lower levels of stock overall. But let's just jump straight in and let's have a look at one-bedroom properties. Now, the first thing you see is, one sec, it'd be helpful if I zoom in a bit. Let's have a look at London is, well, the colour. Everything here is predominantly red or at least grey, say beige in colour. And the reason for that is obviously that prices are substantially going up. And this is London after all, so nothing is going to be perhaps the cheapest. But it is quite startling how few properties are coming in at the lower end of the spectrum. So what can we see here? Well, I'm going to be a bit of a scratch record here. I talk about this almost every time, but around Docklands area you can see there is reasonable stock. 17 properties in that part of Docklands, 10 there, it's looking quite good. A lot of properties come on in Wembley, which actually was common from the last video. Areas outside Croydon and Sutton are looking okay, but some of the prime locations to the north of London, for example, stock levels are really modest, you have to say, for one bedroom. The key areas around the west of London, around Richmond Park, is low, but you would expect that, to be fair, for one bedroom properties. But in London as a whole, you're really not looking at much. I mean, let's have a look at central London here. How many properties there? 12. Well, 12 isn't a lot really for a week in certain parts of London. So let's have a look at maybe the category that affects more people. 2 bedrooms. So have a look at this and, well, good news, first and foremost, this is certainly not so red. You're also seeing more of a splattering of properties outside central London, which is good. However, as we can all see, overall stock levels are extremely modest. So let's zoom in a bit more because it is a bit high range. Okay, so Docklands, again, reasonable level, 20 odd properties coming on that part of Docklands, 15 there, so you can see reasonable stock. Let's have a look into parts of central London itself, so Kensington area, 7 properties, not a lot. Mayfair area, 4 or 5 properties, very modest. The key issue, I would say, is 2 locations. One is to the north of London, so the Islington areas, for example, very popular, and you have to say very modest numbers around this area over here. The other areas around Richmond Park, again, very modest levels of 2-bedroom properties over there. Actually, looking outside London as well, just for general interest, you have to say the numbers are, well, low. So let's have a look at 3-bedroom properties and see what this is looking like in the last period of time. And, well, interestingly, there is actually more 3-bedroom properties coming on. But what, again, you can see, anybody who's watched these videos before will probably have heard me saying this, but actually some of the key areas outside London which are really popular around places like Cobham, for example, going around up towards Richmond, really sought after. These areas around Surrey, really sought after. These areas sort of north of London, so the St Albans, Welwyn Garden City, Hertford locations, really nice places to actually live, and certainly if you've got a family. So 3-bedroom properties would be the norm. You have to say stock levels probably is an all-time low. Again, looking into London itself, so you've got parts of Docklands again, 8 properties, so it looks like a high tower, but it's not actually that larger stock levels. As said, everything is in proportion to each other here. So going back toward Chiswick, 5 properties. Again, around Wimbledon, yes, there's a few, but they're getting expensive as you would expect. Richmond, very modest levels. Kingston, which is a pretty good place, but only a couple properties there. Everything that looks like a flat disc, frankly, a little frisbee, is only going to be 1 property. Right, let's have a look at 4. And yeah, not an awful lot going on here either. Now, to be fair, 4-bedroom properties in London, you wouldn't expect an awful lot. What you would expect is more 4-bedroom properties in the areas outside London. And as we can see, very little. So let's just scoot through the others. 5-bedroom properties, not a lot, although saying that, there's something interesting coming up around Regent's Park area. But it's only 2 properties, so yeah, it looks high. And 6-bedroom properties, well, unsurprisingly, even in a good market, there really wouldn't be an awful lot. So let's actually go back and actually look at, say, 2 bedrooms, because as I said, that's probably one of the most common categories to look at. So what's this telling us? Well, what it's telling us is the housing market in December is doing what December normally does, which is not a great time. If you're a landlord, you really wouldn't be looking to put your property on in December if you could avoid it. So it's not surprising it's low levels. However, saying that, the last couple of months have been extremely low in stock levels, so it's no surprise to see December is perhaps the quietest yet. Now, it's possible January may increase in stock levels. In fact, it's almost more than likely that they're going to increase in January, but the key question is by what sort of level. So what can we take from this? Well, the issue is that if you're doing a relocation at the moment, their stock is there. As you can see, properties are coming on, but by definition the numbers are not vast, and by definition the good properties are going to go very quickly. So it's really important that we react extremely swiftly to it. As I said in previous videos, and yes, I'm arguably repeating myself, but please allow me to do so, is at the moment don't expect to get a deal on a rental property. The stock levels are such that landlords don't tend to need to take it. It is possible in some of the really prime locations, so the red areas in central London, that it's possible that landlords will be expecting or looking for or hoping for prices over asking price, which is not ideal for anybody. As I said, stock levels may improve. I think they will improve as we go into January, but it might be sort of week 2, week 3 before we see a substantial increase. Now, obviously, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening as to why this is happening, what is taking place in the stock market, the housing stock market, and why, what the issues might be looking like, what's the trends, which areas are best to consider. If you've got any of these questions, then please ask one of the team at Icon Relocation. We'll be delighted to help. Also, if you haven't already subscribed to these videos, please do. We also have a large series of videos, blogs, let's get this right, large series of blogs that go alongside this to the Icon Relocation site. Please subscribe to that and follow that. We'd love to get some feedback from people. What would you like to see more of? How can we expand on these videos to give you more information that will be helpful, whether you're relocating yourself or if you're in HR looking at actually giving the best advice possible for your team. Otherwise, thank you very much for listening. I look forward to talking to you again in due course, and if I don't speak to you beforehand, Merry Christmas. Take care.